What's up, legends? In this video, I want to discuss how you can set goals as a collector so that when you come to the end of this year, you can actually feel like you've made some good strides in your Pokemon card collecting. Now, I'm also going to be sharing a few of the goals that I've made for this year, and while we do so, I thought we'd open up a box of VMAX Climax, which is a really cool set. Hopefully we can pull some really cool character rares today. But if it's your first time here, my name is Luke, and after 20 years, I got back into collecting Pokemon cards to chase that feeling of nostalgia from my childhood. So I hope you'll come along the journey with me by hitting that subscribe button below. Now, as we are discussing goal setting, we're actually going to use this as a guide. Now, this is a book that I wrote and released about a year ago called Time Blocking. Now, if you're not familiar, time blocking is basically a productivity method to help you get more done in less time. It's really been a game changer for me. And if that interests you, it is available on Amazon. You can check the link in the description below. But anyway, there's some principles in here for goal setting that we're actually going to be using and applying towards our Pokemon card collecting. So yeah, let's get into this and open up some VMAX Climax. Now, the underlying principle that I outline in this book is that in order to get more done in less time and to reach your goals for the year, focus is really the key to that. And so when we talk about the goal setting within this book, we actually have one rule that we need to follow, which is to determine your essentials. Now, what does that mean? To determine your essentials, it basically means to figure out your why, to figure out what is your underlying drive behind what you're doing, in general in life. But in this case, what is your purpose and the values that underlie your collecting? So first of all, for your purpose, I think most people fall into one of two categories, or maybe a combination of the two. Perhaps you are collecting just for the fun of it. And that's what most of us are doing. That's certainly the case for me. And many of us are also possibly collecting to make a profit. So, I just want to at least be self-aware to understand which of those categories you kind of fall into. But in doing so, we also want to determine our essentials as far as our values. So what do you value as a collector that kind of gets you excited about collecting Pokemon cards? So for me, things that I value are vintage cards. I love vintage cards. I love cards that feature the Kanto Pokemon, and specifically my favorite Pokemon. So my top favorite Pokemon is Dragonite. So I value cards that feature that character. I also like Raichu, Espeon, Blastoise, Charizard. These are some of my top 5 favorite Pokemon. So those are the sort of cards that I'll be going after. Another thing that I value is actually opening up sets, because I actually like opening up packs and getting that rush. And so specifically, I like opening up fun sets. I like opening up sets that I personally enjoy and that have some good chase cards. And so those are some of the things that I value. Maybe you value things like grading. Maybe you like grading because it's a way to increase the value of your cards. Maybe you value having a large sealed collection. So what I recommend doing before you even write down your goals is to write down some of these values so that you are kind of self-aware and know exactly why you're in it in the first place. Got a nice Holo Zapdos there. Ooh, there we go. We got the Urshifu V. That's a very nice one. And that might be our, that's our CSR. Wow, first pack of magic there. All right, and underneath there, we've got this Fighting Energy. So yeah, determining your essentials is really just important for making sure that the goals that you're setting actually align with what you are really passionate about, what you really enjoy in this hobby. Because again, I've mentioned this before, but there's a lot of hype in this hobby. There's a lot of collectors that do things differently. And you don't need to feel pressured to do things the way they do it. You should really collect and approach this hobby in the way that you actually enjoy. And this is a tough one to get open for some reason. So after you've determined your essentials, what I recommend doing also is writing down, don't write down first your goals for this year. Write down some of your long-term goals, maybe your life goals as a collector. So for me, some of those things are to complete master sets. I want to complete all the master sets from base set all the way to the Neo sets, which is quite ambitious, but I think if I stick with this hobby for the long haul, then I think it's definitely doable. I think another goal that I have is to collect all of the Dragonite cards. Again, my favorite Pokemon. And you see how my values as a collector inform. Ooh, nice. We got a full art trainer. I would say my values as a collector inform what my long-term goals are going to be. And got 2 more under there. But of course, these long-term goals, they can be a little bit overwhelming, and that's because they're very abstract. They're very difficult to accomplish in the short term, but in the long term, they're very doable, and it's actually very realistic. But in order to do that, you need to have some smaller goals in between those. And so that's what we need to do, is we need to actually reverse engineer our long-term goals, our life goals as a collector, into the goals that we're going to have for this year. So for instance, if I'm trying to go after all these master sets, maybe I need to choose which master sets I'm going to try and complete this year. So maybe I'll start with base set and try and complete that within this year. Maybe jungle, could go after those as well. Got Fog Crystal, Hollow Tauros, I think Zangoose, I forget, that might be his earlier evolution. Got Moltres V, a nice one, and Regirock with a little brick pattern. Very cool. So if one of my goals is to complete or to collect every single Dragonite card, for instance, probably one thing that I can do to reverse engineer that larger goal is to maybe make a list of all the Dragonite cards in existence, and perhaps for this year a goal could be to pick certain ones to go after. But now, as you're setting these goals, we want to follow what's called the SMART Goals Framework. Now, this is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. So each one of our goals for this year needs to fit into one of those, or each of those categories. So specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. And so the time-bound one is also a very important one. So what I recommend you do when you write down these goals, right next to it, include the time frame of how long you think it's going to take to complete that, based on your budget, based on your resources, because that's often the thing that is our limit in this hobby, is money, finances. And so, based on your budget, maybe you need to think about how long it might realistically take you to complete that. Okay, nice. We got, I think, the Corvisquire VMAX and Bennett. So let's take one of my goals, for instance. I've completed about 90% of base set, although some of the cards I still need to get, like the Charizard, are going to be a little bit more challenging to get. But I think if I really focus on that this year, I think I could probably finish up the base set master set in 2 to 3 months. So I would just write that next to that goal for this year. So basically, here are some of the goals that I've made for this year. So the first one, of course, as I mentioned, is to complete base set, and I decided I actually want to complete it by April. April is about the time that I actually got back into the hobby. And so, yeah, I think I want to have completed that set within my first year of collecting. And I definitely need to hunker down and focus and allocate my funds accordingly to make sure that that is going to be possible. Got the Urshifu Hollow, Pikachu V, nice. And, ooh, very cool. We got another character rare, and it's some sort of dragon. I really don't know that guy's name, but that's a pretty cool one. Some very nice colors on there, some nice, yeah, nice like watercolor, nice stylistic artwork. I like that a lot. Yeah, it even has the little dragon scratch marks up there, so that's pretty cool. Got some cool ones already. Another one of my goals is, I think I'm actually going to complete the jungle set this year as well. I think that that's realistic. I'm not as far through it. I think maybe like 60%, but I think that I can complete that one by December. So right after I'm done with base set, I'm gonna go after jungle. Another one that I want to complete this year is my Celebrations and 25th Anniversary Master Set, because that's one that I started this year. And that one I'm definitely going to need to save up some money to buy a lot of the singles eventually. Anyway, so then also one goal that I have this year is actually I've never purchased or had a card graded. And so that's something that I kind of want to just explore this year. It's not something that I've made one of my main values so far, but I'm just kind of interested and curious about it. So I thought a good way to get my feet wet would be potentially to get one card graded at least, and maybe even purchase a single slab. Nice, we got Sylveon V and Cherubi. So my goal is actually going to be to purchase actually a graded Dragonite card. So that is a way that it actually does fit into my values, is that I'm going after probably a card that I would probably get anyway. And I think it'll be cool if I can get one in like a PSA 10 or maybe a BGS 9 or something like that. That's another thing too, is I still honestly can't decide which grading company I would really want to go after as a collector. Because PSA is, I think, the more popular choice, the more widely used choice in this hobby. However, I personally don't really like how their slabs look all that much. I feel like their label is just super bland. I absolutely hate CGC's label. It reminds me of like Windows XP. And I do overall like I like BGS, how they look. But at the same time, if more people are interested in PSA, maybe the long-term value of that is going to be better. I'm still trying to decide, but that's kind of why I want to get my feet wet this year and not only purchase a graded slab, but maybe also get one of my cards graded. We'll see though. It might depend on... Whoa, nice. We got the Pikachu VMAX. That's pretty cool. All right, that's a good one. I was going to say it definitely depends on how the prices end up this year. They are going down a little bit, but hopefully they can come down a little bit more so I can maybe do that. Oh, we got something. Oh, great. Got this Ariados again. I really actually don't like this one that much because I don't like spiders. But yeah, okay, not bad. We did get this one though, so this is a really cool one to get. Not the rainbow version, but still a really cool card. Alright, let's pull these out of here. Looks like we've got 3 left. And so the last step that we need to talk about, now that you've actually outlined what your goals are for this year, is we need to reverse engineer these goals even further. You need to figure out what is it going to take for you to actually complete these goals within the time frame that you've outlined. Like I said, obviously you're trying to complete it this year, but hopefully you've also outlined a time frame that you want to complete that goal by, so that you actually know if you're on track towards it. So an example of this, you know, I am trying to complete my Celebrations Master Set and 25th anniversary, but on the English side, I don't know, I've just been really wanting to try and pull all of the chase cards. We'll see if that's going to be realistic in the end, but to give an action step towards that is I need to continue to buy Celebrations products and hopefully eventually pull that Charizard, the Mew, all those good ones I still need. Looks like we got the Octillery Hollow and a Articuno V and one more. Hopefully this is a character rare. Nope. Got little fat guy. All right, that's a cool one though. If my calculations are correct, we should be getting at least one more character rare in here. So another example, if I were to reverse engineer my goal of completing base set by April, that means that I'm not only going to have to set aside some money, but I may need to think about some cards that I might be open to selling or trading in order to afford some of these cards. So an example, I actually have a guy who told me he has a base set Venusaur. It's the third most expensive card in the set. And, you know, if I'm going to have enough funds to eventually get the Charizard, I might need to save my funds. But, so he sent me a bunch of the Pokemon that he's interested in. One of them included Jirachi, and then another one included Raichu. And so I got to thinking, ooh, nice, we got the Duraludon VMAX, and underneath there, I have no idea that guy, but got the cool little brick pattern on there. All right, that's a nice one. So it got me thinking that I've actually pulled the Shining Jirachi from Shining Legends, and honestly, I wasn't planning to get rid of this or trade this, but then again, it's not really one of my favorite Pokemon. Honestly, the reason that I'm wanting to hold on to it is more so the fact that it was just a really cool experience to pull it from. It was actually from a Walgreens mystery pack. But I think maybe I'd be open to getting rid of this and trading it for a portion of the Venusaur, as well as this one that I actually got just recently. So it's one that I mean, I love Raichu, so it is within my values to collect this. But at the same time, I'm not going after a Japanese base set yet. I may do it one day. But this is a card I might be willing to part with now. So anyway, those are two cards that can possibly add towards the value of a card that I need for base set that's, you know, a little bit more expensive. So anyway, sometimes you just have to get creative, and you also need to, again, sometimes knowing what you're interested in, what your values are as a collector, tells you what your value should not be, and maybe you need to be willing to give up some cards that may have some value. Maybe you still, you know, maybe they're sentimental for some reason, but if it's not aligned with your values, you might need to be willing to get rid of it in order to obtain something that you actually want. All right, guys, we are on our last pack here. I feel like we still need to get one more character rare. Maybe I'm mistaken about that, but let's find out. All right, oh, nice, we got the Charizard again. Always a great one to get. And I think we may have, okay, we got a few more still. We still have, okay, Hollow. Snorlax, that's a great one. I like that one a lot. We have, okay, nice, that's a cool one too, the Rayquaza V. And today we are ending off on, okay, there's our third character rare, or our fourth regular character rare. and I don't even know who that is, to be honest. Alright guys, so we got some actually really cool hits today, so this is very exciting. I love this set. We'll definitely be opening up more still in the future. And lastly, we got our character rares, some pretty cool ones in there. Ones that I don't know if I'm going to be keeping all of these, but this is actually another cool thing. The person that I might purchase the Venusaur from or trade the Venusaur for actually loves these character rares, so maybe I'll be able to trade some of these for that. I would say this is probably my favorite hit of the day. Well, I hope you guys found these tips helpful. Again, if you're interested in productivity, I think you'll want to check out time blocking on Amazon, which is linked in the description below. And if you like Pokemon card openings, I think you'll want to check out one of these videos on screen next and subscribe so you don't miss any in the future. Lastly, I want to remind you that no matter what you're going through, you are not alone. God is with you and He loves you, and we do too. I'll catch you next time.